Hello, welcome to Stories from Strathmore with me, Jimmy Black. Tonight's episode is all about Adam Rennie, the Coupar Angus fiddler who led one of the best-known broadcasting bands of the 1950s in some of the great days of Scottish country dance band music. This is a wee burst from one of Adam's own tunes, Jean Kirkpatrick's Fancy, written for a local gym teacher who, incidentally, taught me the Gay Gordons. Bobby Brown is the last surviving member of the Adam Rennie Quartet. I asked him what made the band special.
I think it was the blend of the actual players. We were all suited to one another, and I think that's where we got that real, what would you call it, the real blend, where we got that sound. And to me there was something different about it from the rest of the dance bands.
Who was in the band?
We had an accordion, a fiddle, a bass fiddle and piano. That was the setup. And it was, to me, it was very good. When we started, there was Jock White from Dundee on the bass, George Robertson from Coupar Angus on piano, Adam and myself. That was the setup. That was the first quartet that came out.
What kind of gigs did they get?
Oh, well, we actually travelled down to London, and we played at the Accordionist Society in London, and we also did our Parlophone records when we were down there at that time. And we also did the Chelmsford County Ball, and I think we were about 3 times at Balmoral playing for the Gillies Ball.
So this was high society, wasn't it?
Oh, it was the real stuff. It was really big time.
So did the Queen ever dance to your band?
Oh yes, aye, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, they were both there, and they both danced. And very good dancers, I may say so.
Maybe the week after you played the Caledonian Society in London, you might be in a local hall here in Strathmore.
Yeah, that's right. We were all over the shop. Aye. We could be back here in a way playing at Strathpeffer or something like that, you know. That's the way it went.
Were they exciting times?
Yes, they were indeed. It was all go, and we were really enjoying it at that time. It was all go. I mean, sometimes we were playing 3 and 4 nights a week.
The Scottish nationalists were doing well during the 1950s, and the quartet was unwittingly caught up in one fairly daft incident, which involved removing a certain lump of sandstone from Westminster Abbey.
Well, I suppose I could tell you when we were down at the Caledonian Society in London and also recording for Parlophone. On our way out of London, we were stopped by detectives, and we couldn't understand what was wrong, you know. So the actual fact was we had the big bass tied in the top of the motor, and it was the time that the Stone of Destiny was stolen. So they thought it was the stain on the top. It was Ed Rob's big fiddle that was on the top. So, with a wee bit of explaining, away we went. But I find that very amusing.
Adam was a talented composer, with many well-known tunes to his credit. One of his most famous, Carrum Woods, was the subject of considerable controversy.
Yes, that was between him and Jim Cameron. Adam claimed that he wrote Carrum Woods, and Jim Cameron claimed that he had written Carrum Woods. But at the end of the day, they were both reserved the rights.
Did they go to court?
Oh, I think they had a wee bit sort of court session there. I think it did happen. Anyway, that's how it finished up.
And did they speak to each other after that?
Oh, I don't think so. I think they were quite estranged after that. As I say, I think it was a wee bit of professional jealousy. you know, these things can crop up.
Jimmy Dawson is Stories from Strathmore's resident fiddler. He composed and plays our theme tune. Jimmy was taught as a youngster by Adam Rennie, and I asked him what kind of a man Adam was.
Oh, a very friendly chap. He would do anything to encourage your help. He had a happy knack of, if he had to scold you for mistakes, it was done in a very jocular sort of way. That it wasn't really a ticking off, it was more in a sort of a make you laugh at your own mistake rather than feel uptight about having made a mess of things.
Bobby Brown also remembers Adam with affection, both as a man and a player.
Oh yes, a gentleman, really, a real gentleman, and a grand master of Scottish dance music. He was a perfectionist. He had to have everything right, and he was a very forceful player. You know, he kept napping on, as we speak of it. He kept, you know, you had to keep going. There was none of this dilly-dallying.
He had a very particular style of his own, which was he was very particular with his phrasing and the rhythm, and was he had something along the Jimmy Sands lines. He was very particular about timing and rhythm. Had a style more or less all of his own. It could be recognised. And this comes out clearly in a number of the compositions that Adam compiled.
The members of the quartet all had jobs or businesses to carry on alongside their music. Bobby was a farmer. Adam had worked in the land but took a shop after he was badly injured in the First World War.
Yeah, he took over the tobacconist shop in Coupar Angus in 1920. And before that, well, he actually was born in Kenny in Aberdeenshire. And he was 5 years old when he came to Coupar Angus. And he worked on the land for quite a while. And he was driving a pair of horses at the age of 14. That was before he took over his tobacconist shop at the Cross in Coupar.
Now, he had a wooden leg, didn't he, from the war?
Yes, he was in the Gordon Highlanders. And in 1918, he was badly wounded. And he was found by the French Red Cross. And they got him sorted out. And he went back to London and had his leg amputated in London. And that was how he lost the leg.
Did it ever bother him on stage, having a wooden leg?
Yes, it did. It did sometimes. But he was always raring to go. He was a fighter. Latterly, I would say that it was beginning to be quite a strain for him. You know, even broadcasts, and, you know, the sweat would be rolling down his cheeks just to keep going. So he finally felt that he just couldn't go any longer, and that was it. That was the finish.
Now, he died fairly young, didn't he?
I think he was 62 when he died. 62.
Bobby went on to lead his own band and play with several others, but he looks back on his days with Adam Rennie as the highlight of his career.
That was the greatest time of my life, was playing with Adam. It really was. It was super, and it was a delight for me to play with him, because he was so vigorous, you know, everything. He was a great player. I would say he was one of the greatest.
Well, that's all from Stories from Strathmore for the second last time. Next week I'll be looking back at some of the music we played during the series, from Norman Howie's diddling to Joe Aitken's singing, Jimmy Dawson's fiddling and Davy Adams' melodeon. But now, for a wee change, here's Bobby Brown to play us out with two of Adam Rennie's tunes, Bill Sutherland and Pat Donald.